What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mr. Parker's Neighborhood. Man, look here, 23. I told you, I'm going deeper than deep. I'm bringing people on this on the neighborhood who you might know, and if you don't know them, you're gonna get to know them. We get through with this. Nah, my brother, I'm bringing on this time. Forget all that, brother Ben Broadnax. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm fair to middling, as the old folks used to say.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Check it out. This is what we're gonna do. I normally play a little game with the people and say, guess what my guest does? In this case, we doing it different. We're gonna guess what my guest did, and we're gonna roll from there.
That's
So
road, man.
here's your choices, people. You ready, viewers? All right, here we go. A was my guest a top athlete. B was my guest a top rapper. C has my guest been the bodyguard of rappers, singers, and D is my guest a well-known person. And E, all the above. All right, the answer to that one is I gave y'all 24 a chance. All the above. I mean, Dr. B, I just want to say, matter of fact, we've taken care of the regular preliminaries. Benjamin Broadnax is his name, but for me, that's my big brother, Big Ben. What's going on, bro? What's happening?
Hey, man. I'm honored to be a part of your show, man. You know, you CP from way back. You were one of the first guys to do video, man, and do club video music. So, you know, we it ain't just about me, bro. You done laid some foundation in this town too, brother.
But I mean, look, and that's all because I had somebody to look. The people I had to follow through opened the door for me. And again, that's another piece about it. Again, this is why I do this show, because we have people that we're in our midst and don't know what it is they do until later on. And then when we hear what they're doing, we like, wait a minute, I know him. That's my brother. That's Big B. So going back, now, are you from? Tell us the Ben Broadnax story. Where are you from originally?
Man, I'm from St. Louis, born and raised. You know, I grew up in Cabinet Courts, and from Cabinet Courts, I moved to Wellston, Missouri. From Wellston, I moved to Hathaway border, Castle Point, and the rest is history, man.
Okay, and like you said, going those steps right there. Let's go back to in Review Gardens, the home of the Rams.
View time, baby.
I mean, and that right there is the first step. Now, going through, and your point in time, like I say, you was when I got to high school, you was already there. You was on your way out the door. But getting to that point, when you were in, let's just say, when did you start, first of all, playing football, playing sports?
Man, I started when I was 10 years old in U City with the U City Lions. And that particular year, we got our butt kicked every year. But I won. I won individually. I won Rookie of the Year. It was my first year, man. I was playing. We just had some players that just didn't have a heart, and coaches that just didn't know what they were doing. I knew even way back then that we were making a lot of mistakes because we weren't taught. Man, I grew up in Cabinet Courts with the Potters and them guys, Red Potter, Larry Potter, and Stan Potter,
Yeah,
Melvin
yeah.
Mark. I grew up with them guys, and there was a team, a house full of athletes, man. Either one of them guys in that house could have went second round in any sport that they played in. And
Wow.
I mean, from Red Potter being a boxer, a baseball player, a football player. I mean, he was just all around, man. He was part of that. He was part of that dynamic defensive back crew at Mizzou years ago with
Hmm.
Poe Wright, Demetrius Johnson, that whole crew, man. They were like the 49ers of college.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
they
like as far as that goes, you started at 10. Now, did you start off playing quarterback, or you moved as time went on?
when I didn't know no better, they had me at running back, but I was a toothpick growing up. I developed a love for quarterback because I had a great arm and I could read defenses pretty good. So, even back in high school, I was calling my plays at the line.
Yeah, yeah. I was on that line a couple of times filling in.
The thing that hindered me, I had a great arm and I had speed around me, but I lacked that speed. Back then, CP, we didn't have a breeding ground of training like they have today. If we had had a training ground like they had today, hell, whole damn squad would have went to the NFL.
You ain't never lied. Hey, so get in high school. Now, my question to you, because it's been thrown out there as far as Charles Watson. I was talking to him. Chuck said, who was the first black quarterback in the suburban North or at Riverview?
At Riverview, I would have to believe it was William Peoples.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's what I mean. If it was somebody before William, I wouldn't know that.
Okay.
But I know in my era, it was William Peoples that was the first African American quarterback at Riverview. He got hurt, which prompted them to bring me up from the sophomore squad. I started from maybe the fourth game my sophomore year all the way till I graduated.
Okay.
And it was, Riverview wasn't known for football. Hell, I didn't know I'd never heard of Riverview till I got out here. Riverview was known as a wrestling program.
Yeah.
But I think with the highlighting of Dr. Jockenstein and the roll call and Colonel Lee and myself and JAT, we put Riverview on the map, man, through the radio. It wasn't we don't know about no people that don't know about Riverview and no sports. They knew about the roll call cast, and they from Riverview. You know what I mean? Suburban North at that time was the best conference in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Because like I said, when we got there, like I said, coming from junior high and came to the high school, all we knew was, oh yeah, this is that first night game we had in '84. We was like, this is what we want to do.
Man, it looked like a college stadium football game, man. I mean, every piece of ground that was up in Riverview was covered by bodies. It was the stands, the track, the grass. I mean, everywhere you can put people, they were standing there, man. I mean, sold out. And the good part about that, CP, my entire career at Riverview Gardens, we never lost a home game.
And that was the piece of the puzzle that y'all passed down to us in that first day, that first week of football freshman year. Y'all came and said, "Look here, there's one thing we don't lose. You don't lose at home."
No,
that was it. That was in bed like, "Oh, got you," and we didn't lose at home.
If by some chance we happen to lose, it won't be at the View. You gonna respect the View, and man, we held. Not bragging anything, CP, but we had so many great athletes, man, from the James King, who was the #1 recruited high school player in the country in '84, and that was long before the ESPN Top 100 and all that. I remember Coach Osborne and Barry Swisher and all those guys. They were outside James King's house until he made his decision where he was going. I mean, it was whoever thought, man, that some little boys from the hood would have that type of notoriety. We had guys that went both ways, like Hank Lacey, the late Hank Lacey, Vincent Spike, Stan T.C. Young, Arthur Ford. I mean, we just had guys, man, that were unbelievable talent. But again, we never had the training breeding ground like they had today. People talk about, not to downplay anybody, but the days of CBC and all them schools, man, they wouldn't have dare came to Riverview and done nothing. We'd have smashed them guys. Man, we were beating teams 30 and 40 to nothing at halftime, which hindered my career for real because I'm damn near in street clothes at halftime because Coach Nicastro didn't want to run the score up. I said, man, we trying to get scholarships, bro. Yeah, but we'll run the score. Yes, we do. They got to stop us.
Right. Yes,
When
sir.
Riverview was trash, they wasn't taking it easy on Riverview.
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's one of the things that hindered a lot of us, man. That we had the opportunity to score damn near 70, 80 points a game, but the coach didn't want to do that, man. Hey, when you number one, you run the score up. That's what you do because all of that kind of stuff plays a part when they start picking playoffs
We can play
positions
up.
back then.
Right.
The nonsense that I heard that they did in the last 20 years about you win your last three games, you go to playoffs. What the hell? How do you honor or reward a terrible team? That means I can go 7-0 and lose one game and go 9-1 and not go to the
Not the
playoffs because I
playoffs.
lost one of my last two games. Now, whoever came up with that has got to be extremely on some heavy medication.
And look, I'm glad you brought that up because we talked about that. How after us, the rules switched. It was like, what kind of, like you said, that whole three playoff end. Like, no, man. I mean, we got done dirty our senior year because they said we missed going to the playoff because Fox scored lower than Eureka. The Hazelwood East played Eureka, and they had a one game better record than Fox. So that's how you got in the playoffs. Like, what kind of bull is this? But it was just those kind of things. And then you and James King and all them taught us to where, look here, if you don't win it on your own, don't expect the refs or nobody else to get y'all nothing because we front of you.
Man, I would never forget one of the worst games that I've ever been involved in. We were playing Hazelwood Central at Hazelwood Central. We on the 6-inch yard line with 18 seconds to go in the half. I get a ball to Hank Lacey. We get stopped just short of the goal line. I turn to referee, who's supposed to be a Hall of Famer and the greatest guy since sliced bread. Had that ugly toupee on. I turned to him and called a timeout, and he turned his back on me and let the clock run out.
Wow.
I knew it. I knew at that point that the fix was in because they wanted Hazelwood Central to be the baby of the sweetbread of North County.
Oh
They
yeah.
didn't want no. They didn't want no boys from the hood to Riverview to be going nowhere representing North County because that wasn't the makeup back then, man. North County was still 60-40 white.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
we came in and just turned the tables on Riverview. Like, man, Riverview winning now. Yeah, we dressed 70 players every game.
Every game, yes, sir.
It was cool. It was cool to play sports back then. Now these guys are too cool to play sports.
Right.
And back then, man, if you wasn't on the football team, man, you was considered a nerd. And so we had a lot of nerds on our football team.
Hey,
But those nerds were family to us. You know
that's
what I'm
it.
saying? So it was just, and it taught us to be men, man, from the upbringing from Coach Dina Telly.
Yeah,
Dina Telly really should have been the man at Riverview, man, because he brought us for real from boys to men.
yeah.
From you wear a tie on game day,
On game
blah,
day,
blah,
yes, sir.
blah. You wear your jersey and a tie on game day, or you wear a sport jacket, something like that. So he was teaching us philosophy about being men and
Right,
not just being athletes because he would come to your class, and if you wasn't in class, you wasn't dressing.
right. And I mean
You
that's
know,
like you said about the coaches. The coaches then it wasn't about you. Oh, this is my best app. No, no, you got certain things you got to meet up with. Ain't no plan, and you ain't going to class.
no, man. Dina Telly he would make you feel like an idiot, and you didn't even know it. He'd say, "Hey, Mr. Broadnax, that play that you just ran, did you see they had the line overloaded to that side?" He said, "So what prompted you to make that call that play?" And I didn't have a logical answer for him, so it was like, "You dummy." I was saying that I was talking about myself. You dummy,
Right,
you
right,
played to the overloaded side. You couldn't see that. He said, "You got to open your eyes, Ben, and pay attention to what's going on out there." And I was like, I will never forget that, man. Even to this day, I don't play football no more, but even to this day, he made me feel about this small because I wasn't using my brain.
okay.
A lot of times we tried to use our athletic ability. We had a system, man. We had Kevin Hagens, On the
Yep.
outside, who won the 110 high hurdles of state.
Yeah.
And then I had Von Swan, who you throw a ball anywhere near him, he was gonna catch it. And then you had Billy Barber. I had Marvin Williams. I mean, I had so many guys, man, that man, I would have 250 yards passing at halftime. And then he would bring in Jeff Lure or Jeff Ballard to close the game out because we up 30 to nothing, 40 to
Right,
nothing.
right.
You know what I mean? So, but it was all a great experience, man. There wasn't a family like the Riverview Rams, man, back in the days. That we still today have great relationships with each
Yeah.
other, man, because of what we did in school, man. People tell me, oh, kids, I don't want to go to school. I had a conversation with a young lady last night at work talking about she was not going to school because she was tired. Yeah, if you don't go to school, I'm gonna make sure you don't get to come to work either. I had to go back to the old school
Oh.
principle. If you don't go to school, you can't do nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't talk on the phone. You can't have no company. You can't go outside. You can't go nowhere else. You missed school. You wasn't feeling good. Remember? So keep that same attitude, man. And that's what we lack in the village now. Now, well, we don't even have a village anymore. But back in the days, man, your auntie, Miss Barbie, and all those people in the neighborhood, man, they kept us in check, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
We we respected them to the utmost because we know that if Mama had given them permission, if you catch them clowning, deal with them,
Deal with it. Yes, sir.
deal with them.
Yes,
And
sir.
so those are the things that I miss, man, about our upbringing in the hood. Me and Larry Jones back in 1977. I think we were, if I'm not mistaken, it was other blacks out there. I didn't see them, but I think we were two of the first black families to move out in Castle Point
Mm.
back in those days, man. Because I didn't see no other black people out there. And then suddenly they started appearing. Maybe they just stayed in their house because they welcomed us to the neighborhood with a cross and eggs on our garage with the
Wow.
N word spray painted all over our windows.
Wow, man. See, people don't understand. That's another part of it. People don't understand that even in the eight, we had to go from, like I said, I stayed on count. Going from count to try to get the Prince, you got to go through two areas of dogs chasing you before you get to where you're going.
Oh yeah, I would never forget that guy, David. I can't remember his last name, but he chased us home with Doberman pinchers every day. We had to try to find a new route to get
New route.
home because he would have that Doberman pincher say, "Get them ears," and so we running, killing each other, trying to get to the fence to get away from that dog. But then one day he walked on the side of, I live right there counting counties,
Mm-hmm.
right where the walkway is.
Right.
And I had a big white crazy dog who had a criminal record. And so when I saw that brother David walking through that pathway, I said, "Hey, David, remember me?" I had a dog, crazy dog, a big white dog with green eyes named Cisco. I
Wow.
said, "Cisco, get him." And Cisco tore his tail up. And so, and I mean, it just got to a point, man, we had to always be on our guard in Castle Point, man, because we talking 70s and we were living like we were in the 50s.
Yeah. Now, and like you said earlier about when I talked to James, when I had James on here, and I talked to Chuck, and I even just had Big Les on here. The one thing about us that made it different was, like you said, y'all came to us and let us know what you expected from us as freshmen. Like, hey, while y'all here, this is what you do, this, that, and other. And then you took us up under your wing and was teaching us. Like I said, I'm hanging out with James King and Vince Spike, and it's like, this is crazy. And then, like I said, you come through and let us know some things. The whole family system, like I said, it was a fact of you gave back to those up under you. And like I said, you helped the quarterbacks that came through. You took time with telling Melvin and Chuck and Hodge and all them, hey, this is what you want to do, is another. But you took time to show us. And I want to say
Hey,
thank you on behalf of all them.
man, that's what we called to do, brother, because we are, again, it wasn't about being Broadnax, it's about the family, man. Because if Riverview lose, it ain't Ben Broadnax that lose, it's the whole team. So I wanted to be guilty of making sure that we had a good stock coming behind us so we could maintain the name. if we had the cohesiveness today, what we had, Riverview has a lot of great athletes that
Oh
lives up
yes,
in that
sir.
area, man. But until we can get a grip on this educational system to where we have the opportunity to go back and give back to some of these young guys. A lot of these guys, man, it broke my heart. See, and I went to a homecoming at Riverview when we first started. The alumni first started getting back together, and you know how they do the homecoming court. This the
Mm-hmm.
seniors and all that. Man, I had a senior being escorted by the coach. Man, that broke my heart, bro. That broke my heart, man. I was in tears. They're like, "What's wrong with being?" I was like, "Nah, I'm nothing, man. I'm good." That this boy, who's a star athlete, had no family that to support him, and
Wow.
he being escorted by the damn coach. I said, "Man, we got to fix this, bro. If we had to come back as big brothers and big sisters to help some of these kids that don't have a supporting cast, man, that's what we got to do, man. Because this is terrible, man. This boy's a star athlete. Now, if he go to the NFL, you're gonna have people coming out of the woodwork
Out
about
the
that's my
woodwork.
baby, that's my,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and we just don't. The village is gone, man. The village is like, is non-existent. That in our neighborhood, all the blacks that lived in the neighborhood and some whites, man, we covered each other
Yes, sir.
and we
Yes,
held
sir.
each other accountable, man, to be respected. Even to this day, at damn near 57 years old, I still say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's the way I was raised, man.
Right, right.
And
Yes,
and,
sir.
and it don't erase when you get a certain age. I've never cussed around my mom, man. I see people just man, f this and all that around your mama. You can't outgrow your mama. Come on now.
Right, right, right.
And so it's just and even today, man, with my children, I don't play, man, when it comes to my kids because
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
if you don't get them a solid foundation, man, they'll learn other places, and it's not gonna be what you would hope for them to have in their knowledge bank. You know what I'm saying? So, but man, it's people like you and others, man, that have done great things as a contributor to the industry, man. And I don't take that lightly, bro, because it's a lot of things that had we had a whole lot of knowledge about the game, we'd have been
Way,
way down the road. We'd have been
way.
the next entertainment mecca, and right after New York and L.A.,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes,
now
sir.
Atlanta. But we just didn't have nobody here that knew the game or wanted to take time
Hey,
to show it.
hey,
Jock put us on the stage. Jock gave us a platform. Jim Gates, Al Cool Gator, all those guys, man, that gave young guys. I can't forget the late great Gary Starr, man, who those guys gave us Robert Earl Trice from RET. Robert Earl Trice was the baddest man in St. Louis when it came to entertainment. I mean, he had all the equipment, he had all the venues. He had parties everywhere. I mean, it was just you got to give props what they do, man. When
yeah,
you talk
yeah.
about the music industry in St. Louis and DJing, we had guys, and I don't know if you guys have covered them, man, like Holly Rock. Holly Rock had a following that wherever he went, he had 700-800 people with him.
Wow.
Everywhere Holly Rock was DJ P Funk game, it came down, but they had a DJ belt CP that was going around, and they would never let me and Colonel Lee battle anybody for those belts. So we call ourselves the uncrowned champions. Yeah.
Man, and like you said, going into that, we're gonna say football for just a little bit more. So, as far as being when it came time for graduation, where did you end up going to play ball at the Riverview?
Well, I got a scholarship to Central Missouri State University. I always wanted to attend a HBCU, but they didn't recruit up in the Midwest. They never
Right,
came to the
right.
Midwest. Even my brother went to Grambling, and I say, man, talk to Coach Eddie Robb and see if I can come to Grambling. And he did just that. And Eddie Robb talked to me personally on the campus. He said, brother Broadnax, he said, I seen you that you're pretty good. He said, but I got my quarterback position set for the next couple of years. He said, so if you came here, I can't offer you no money because I got all my people in position. He said, you can walk on. He said, but I can almost promise you. you won't play quarterback here at Grambling State University. I said, yes, sir. I respect that. And so at Central Missouri, man, they were trying to really get my body right because I was 160 pounds with equipment on going to college, man. They was like, this boy gonna get killed out here. But I was, I was elusive, man. With that little fly weight I had, I was elusive, and I had that cannon on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but again, man, I was good coming up, but every level that you go to, they're better. So if you don't work on it, you don't work on your skills or have somebody to train you to get to the next level, you just become average. And that's what I became. So I transferred down to North Carolina A&T when I found out the coach was from Missouri, from Hannibal, Missouri. Coach, rest his soul, Coach Mo Forte was from Hannibal. And he said, yeah, I seen some of your film. He said, come on down. But again, I ran into a situation where Alan Hooker, who was our quarterback at A&T, Alan Hooker was rated #1 player in Black College back then. He won Black College Player of the Year. And back then we played against people like Willie Totten and Jerry Rice, which we beat them. We beat them, and Jerry Rice was very upset with that. Even 10 years after the fact, that little bitty North Carolina A&T State University beat Willie Totten and Jerry Rice, Willie Totten and Jerry Rice was averaging about 600, 700 yards a game passing at Mississippi Valley State. You can look it up. Ain't nothing I can't tell you. And Alan Hooker, man, in my lifetime, I thought I was a good quarterback. I didn't even compare. I couldn't even be on the same chart with Alan Hooker, whose son is the quarterback of Tennessee, Hendon Hooker.
Oh man, okay.
Who should have won the Heisman Trophy this year, even with being hurt. He did his thing, man. But his father, Hendon's father, Alan Hooker, he was a combination of Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb all in one.
Oh man, okay.
When I say this boy was bad, man, I was in awe just watching him play. The coach was able to put me on the field in various other positions because I was a kamikaze crazy mofo. Hey, Broadnax, get out there, go on this team, go on that team, go play slot, go on the defensive side. Don't let nothing get behind you. I mean, I always found me a place to play, man, and we won a championship that year, my first year at A&T. So. I mean, it was very rewarding, man. Ain't no experience like an HBCU experience, man. I promise you, man.
Yeah.
And that I wouldn't take that back for nothing in the world. But I played with some good guys, man. Jesse Britt, who was our tight end at A&T, he got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they gave him number 88, which was Lynn Swine's number. Which I was like, wow, they must think highly of him giving away Lynn Swine's number.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of great players that come out of A&T, man. So, but again, man, it goes back to the breeding ground, man. Right now, my son is soon to be 12 years old in November, and he's playing baseball with an organization out in Chesterfield. And the facilities that they have is incredible, man. The training that they have now, see, so I promise you, man, if we had had that back in our days. Like myself, I was a better baseball player than football player. But at Riverview in those days, they wouldn't really let no brothers play at Riverview.
I say that too. Yeah, that's the whole kicker because they wasn't letting us be. If you play baseball at Riverview, you either gonna come in as a pinch hitter or you gonna come in as a base runner.
Or you gonna carry the water. And that was terrible, man. That we had to go through that in the '80s and at Riverview. That brothers didn't play at Riverview. My brother Ted was the hook before Dwight Gooden. But they wouldn't let us play, man. They just would not let us play. Only reason Nordman let us play football because he had gotten out. He tired of getting his butt kicked. I mean that.